To the phones now, Steve Rogers, former FBI terrorism task force. Steve, let me ask you, what are the authorities doing right now? We know there's a manhunt going on. What exactly does that mean in this particular case?
Well, they're going to be setting up very strategic grids. That means they're going to be checking certain sections of that area. They're going to be very meticulous. I mean, Charles, they're going to be checking every building, every nook, every cranny. In addition to that, you have helicopters out there, and if night falls and they still don't have these characters, they'll break out the infrared equipment and heat-seeking equipment to seek them out.
Now, Steve, of course, it's still fresh in our minds that New York State Police prison breakout, and it was shocking to a whole lot of us who, I guess, we watch movies and, you know, of course, by the end of the movie, they always hunt these guys down, and we watch these television shows, and they break out the infrared stuff and the heat-seeking stuff and the dogs and helicopters, and it's all wrapped up in a 30-minute episode, and yet those guys were on the lam for a long time. So is there any sense of just how long this could take?
Well, this could take a long time because there's absolutely no leads that they have. At least in the other incidents, there were some leads. But right now, the police are kind of flying blind. But Charles, I tell you, this has got to come to an end. You know, the President of the United States has to stand up and speak out and let America and its police officers know that he's going to use every resource to help the police do their jobs. And he's got to tell his colleagues, my goodness, to tone down the rhetoric. You know, and I'm sure, Charles, if you see and you look at the history of these killers, these are career criminals. A message must be sent to the judiciary also. Say, look, you guys got to knock it off with the light sentences and put these people away for a long time. And unless we do this, and unless the American people must now confront their elected officials and demand action. And one thing they could do, Charles, the action that elected officials could take is mandatory sentencing. Then you're going to avoid what we're seeing here. Tragedies like this.
What about, Steve, do you feel that the entire police force around the country have been sort of handcuffed by politically correct pressure, by the media, by these different organizations? Do you feel, and if they have been, has that increased the risk that they have every time they put on a uniform?
Yes, listen, the police officers are doing the best job they could with what the tools they have. But after the rhetoric that we heard coming out of Ferguson and out of Baltimore and out of the White House, my goodness, police officers, they're going to hesitate before they take any action because the government does not have their back. Those young men and women are there to serve and protect us. Well, it's time that the American people now stand up and maybe begin to protect them. And the only way we can do it is get on elected officials. Let them know that we are an angry public and they got to step up and speak out.
Steve Rogers, thanks a lot. We appreciate it. We want to alert you that we